Hey guys, Multi here. Yeah, today I want to talk with you about the war within, and I try to make a prediction for DPS, heal, and tanks. I would say, for sure, most important is the DPS. I would say, for most of the people, because you know, tanks and heal, there is a difference, but mostly the difference is only starting in the highest level, because the people are just quite happy to get a tank or a heal into the group. It is a little bit different as a DPS player. You know, if you are not playing super low keys, if you play medium or high keys, yeah, it will take you a lot of time in the queue to get an invite if you are not playing one of the best classes or specs for the expansion. So let's hop on it. I will go through like this. I will try to say a sentence to most of the classes, but most of the specs, but I cannot do it for all of them, because yeah, it's just not easy. You know, like there's a time limit which I wanna keep up with for my YouTube formats, and I don't want to make a 1 hour deep dive into all the specs. So let's start. Let us put this here a little bit more there. Let's start, like I said, we go here one by one. First DPS, then heal, and then the tanks. Okay, so let's hop over it. One moment. So let's go through it. We start with Sub-Rogue. I think Sub-Rogue will be a decent... Let me see where I put it on my list, just to make it clear. I think Sub-Rogue will be a decent spec. I'm struggling between high B and low A or medium A. That's why I think I will try to keep it more positive in that case. Let's pick it. Let's put it into the. Let's put it into the A tier. Let me get here just the thing sorted out. Sorry, for sure I prepared a little bit. So. Into A tier. Then the next one is the Windwalker Monk. It's always for me a little bit hard to rank. I think there's a big difference between a bad monk player and a good monk player. I think as well it could be a decent spec at the moment. I would say as well A tier. Shadow Priest. They were very strong in the last phase. So last phase of Dragonflight. They will not be this strong anymore, but I still think as well here we have an A tier spec. Maybe we'll change things later on, but as again, I try to be more positive, and the ranking is not for low keys and not for the highest of the highest keys, but definitely we're talking about high keys, because I don't need to talk about playing a +3 or whatever. Next one is Outlaw Rogue. Outlaw Rogue, in my opinion, a little bit less good, I would say. Maybe even bad. It's maybe the first bad spec that I see at that moment. Do I put it here or C? Let us keep it in C for the moment. Fire Mage. It seems like there's a stronger mage spec at the moment than Fire with Frost. But as always, I think, and you know the rules usually that Blizzard follows, there is always a mage spec into the S or at least high A tier. I think Fire Mage could come out as one of the S tier specs. Maybe not the highest one, but one of the S tier specs. Then we come to Arms Warrior. I have good news already for Warrior player. I think that Warrior specs will be... No, not maybe good news. I think they both will be decent. I rank Fury a little bit higher than Arms Warrior. Could also change around, but I think we have a decent spec and a not so good one. And then we have the Paladin as well. Same like with Shadow Priest. They were so strong in Phase 3 and Phase 4 of Dragonflight. I think we will not see that again. I still think they will be good. It's maybe between B and A. It's a good question. Let us have it in B, and then we will move later on over the list. Balance through it. Same like with Fire Mage, but just a little bit lower. I think that, you know, Mage, mostly Fire Mage, Balance Druid, one Rogue spec, they always come out on top on one of the best, or the best specs in Mythic Plus. So let's see how it goes. Then the next one is Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement Shaman, I have it ranked pretty mid, I would say, so I would put it as well here. Pretty mid, yeah, that's accurate. Survival Hunter, same, I would say, maybe a little bit lower. Maybe a little bit lower. Let us keep it like this. Demon Warlock was pretty good last season. I think it will still be decent, but not more. I see some things that should improve to rank it higher, but maybe on the top of the B tier at the moment, I would say. Oh, this is a heal. Let's put it there. Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, I don't see it very strong, to be honest. I think it also is kind of mid. It could be some players and some good combination of a team. It can make sense, but at the end of the day, I think it will be just a decent spec. We come to the next one that is pretty high ranked, Augmentation Evoker. It will be, I don't know, is it since it arrived, or is it S tier? Was it one time only A tier? Yeah, it will be again S tier. And you will, at the moment, what I think will happen, you will have it again combined with one of the mage spec, and then could be a balanced druid, or maybe elemental shaman, or we will see. But yeah, you know what I mean. So we will see something that we already see in the past, because it's the same game at the end of the day. Next one is Unholy Decay. It's just mid, not more, not less. We have Elemental Shaman. I think I have a positive feeling about Elemental Shaman. It was not that great for all Dragonflight, if I'm not wrong. We will look at the Dragonflight current list right now, that after I'm here done. But I see it in a pretty good spot. I think I see it in a pretty good spot. Let us also make here a little bit of a ranking in between. I see it in a pretty good spot to go in the upper ranks. The Elemental Shaman, I have a good feeling about that spec. And then Frost Mage. Frost Mage right now looks very strong, stronger than Fire Mage. So we will see who comes out on top. I can guarantee you for one thing, Mage looks so strong that I 100% be sure that one of the Mage spec will be S tier. That's 100% for sure. Frost Decay. Frost Decay, in my opinion, looks pretty strong as well. So we have a decent amount of melees already in a pretty high tier. Then Assassination Rogue. I would put it only in B tier. Some people, I would say, could argue for an A tier, and I understand that point. I think we will have a Rogue spec in A tier, but I think it will be sub Rogue at the end of the day. Next one, Marksman Hunter. Mid. I think mid. Not more, not less. Affliction Warlock is doing okay. You could argue with low A, high B, kind of the same like with Demo Warlock. I think Affliction Warlock could come out on top as the it could come out on top as maybe the best Warlock spec in this season. They are all pretty close, in my opinion, all the Warlock specs. So Destruction, I just put it next to Demo Warlock. That brings us to Arcane Mage. And Arcane Mage, it sounds ridiculous, but I also think I would rank it at the moment S tier. that shows you that I really think there's one of the mage spec is definitely coming out on top of the mage spec and on top of the list as well. I think that maybe it will look at the end like this, like one of the mage specs will be on the first spot. Augmentation Evoker definitely also S tier, so I keep it like this. Next one is Feral. Feral is the first one that I really say send help. Send help. Maybe you could say the same about Outlaw Rogue. And it's hard, but Feral, please send help. Beastmaster, you know how OP it was because there was a bug, I think it did like the double of the amount of the damage than usually the second place in a dungeon on the like 1 week ago. That's fixed. That's fixed right now. I think we will have with Beastmaster just a normal decent B tier spec with a little bit of upside going into the A tier, or I keep it in A tier. I keep it in A tier because I think it will be the best hunter spec for the first season of the War Within. And the last one of the DPS specs is the Evoker DPS spec. I think is nothing special. Nothing special. It is just a decent DPS spec. What you can already see is I think we have we have a pretty big A and B tier, so there are lots of spec, but honestly that's what we already know from retail. WoW, the balancing is fine, especially for 90 or 95% of the player base. If we talk about a top 5% that try to get the keys as high as possible, you will have not an easy time if you don't play a meta spec. For sure, the meta is zero settled, like I said. I think, and then when we talk about combination of specs, because right now you will not go with 2 mages and an augmentation. Things like this can happen, like that those will be later on the S tier with only 1 mage spec here to go down, and then the group would look like many groups look in the past, like a Fire Mage, Balance Druid, Augmentation, Fire Mage, Sub-Rogue, Augmentation, and so on and so on and so on. This is what can happen, definitely. So this is for me my DPS list. Yeah, let's hop over to the healers. I don't have a big knowledge about heal. So I don't want to pretend things that are not true, but I say what I just heard. I heard that at the moment Druid and Shaman look pretty good. I think followed by, is it Paladin? I think followed by Paladin and Evoker, followed by Paladin, Evoker, and then we have those 3. So that looks maybe like, wow, they are super bad. You could also just say that Druid and Shaman are S tier and then follow it down and make them only B tier. But let me say these 3 look the weakest. Then we have Paladin and Evoker in the mid, and Druid and Shaman are on top. But none of the specs are so... If I would have to put one, I think I would put Shaman on S tier. Let us do it like this. Let us put Shaman on S tier. I think that's just fair to show what I think at the moment is coming out on top. I will do now the same with the tanks. I think the strongest one is right now Unholy Decay, in my opinion. Unholy Decay, Blood Decay is for me looking like the strongest tank, followed by Paladin and Warrior, and no, honestly, it's also it's tough. Tanks are, you know, the tank update, so it's a little bit tough to rank them, honestly. There's definitely no Demon Hunter dominance anymore. So I think Blood Decay will be followed by Paladin, the Feral, the bear tank, the Guardian, I think it's called the Guardian, then Warrior and Demon Hunter, and then the least good at the moment is Monk, but things can change here pretty fast, especially then when we talk about the higher keys later on, where, you know, like certain things are just necessary to be even able to tank them. So I think tanks they got this update, which is, to be honest, pretty bad for tank players as far as I know, but apart from this, they are well balanced. I would say they are the most well balanced category, but sure, they are also a much smaller category than DPS. But overall, this is how it looks for me at the moment, in my opinion. We have a very big A and B tier where you always should find a spec to play. Feral Druid needs help. Survival Hunter, okay, you have 2 other Hunter specs. Same, I would say, about the Outlaw Rogue. Priest Heal needs a little update to get minimum 1 of the specs a little bit higher ranked, and apart from this, I think the balancing is fine. Let's see which mage spec is coming out on top, and let's see which 1 or 2 DPS specs are going up into the S tier and complete the team. Right now, maybe at the moment, if you would have to play today, I think a Bloody K with a Shaman Heal, a mage, a DPS mage, Augmentation Evoker, and 1 of these 3 specs, Elemental Shaman, Balanced Druid, or Sub Rogue, would be maybe the best possible team for you. That's it for this video, guys. Have a good start into the... it is still like a month in the future, but this is my prediction for the first season of The War Within. That's it for this video, guys. See you. Bye bye.